Hello, my name is Amber Soto, and I am the Director of Mathematics.
And I'm Michelle Geyer, and I'm a math coach.
And we're going to talk to you today about order of operations, or more specifically, why PEMDAS has failed us.
Amber, don't you think failed is a bit strong?
Maybe, because in actuality, it's not that it's wrong, it's that kids use it in the wrong way because it's easily misinterpreted it. But there are so many mistakes being made right now that I really want to put an exclamation point on this. So for now, we will say that it has failed us. Okay. We once used PEMDAS, but we found too many learners were making mistakes in how they were using it. We found that what they would do is they thought that the letters went in exact order. So when they would see the M and then the D, they would say it was multiplication and then division. But we know that's not true because division is just undoing multiplication. It's the inverse operation is what we call it. And so they're on the same level. Multiplication and division are the same thing, just backwards. So we were supposed to do multiplication and division from left to right. When kids see the M and then the D, they think that means that's the order. And the same thing with A for addition and S for subtraction. Addition and subtraction, again, just undo each other. And so the whole idea is that they're on the same level and you're supposed to do any addition or subtraction you see from left to right. But kids were saying, no, look at it. It's addition first, then subtraction. And that is not the truth. That's not how it's supposed to work. So, because we are finding so many mistakes, we will not use it anymore.
If not PEMDAS, then what will we use?
Let's use gems.
What on earth is GEMS?
Well, I'm glad you asked. GEMS is similar to PEMDAS in that each of the letters stand for something. And you'll see it's pretty much the same thing, but we just group some of them together so that there's no confusion. G is grouping symbols. Grouping symbols are things like parentheses, so it still works, but also it includes things like brackets and braces. Anything that is used to put certain symbols together or group them together are referred to as grouping symbols. So if you see parentheses, it's still going to play in that that's the first thing that you want to take care of in these steps. The next thing, just like in PEMDAS, the E stands for exponents. So you're going to want to try to take care of all the exponents that you see in problems next. But then for multiplication and division, we only get one letter. They're giving us the letter N, but letter M, but that's to show you that that's multiplication and division together because it's the same level. So you go at the beginning of the problem and go left to right. And you see what comes first, multiplication or division, because they're the same level. We're taking care of it at the same time from left to right. And similarly, for addition and subtraction, we only get one letter, and that's the S, because gems probably sounds better than Gemma. So we're going to go with the S, but the S stands for both addition and subtraction, left to right, and see what comes first. All right, let's see how this works. You want to look at some of these problems? So this one's a hot button problem. This one gets a lot of arguments on the internet all the time. People love to say, no, you do division first. No, you do the multiplication first. So we're not going to give you the answer to it yet. We're going to revisit it after we've done some of these problems at the end, but we want you to think about it. What do you think the answer should be? Now, generally, there are two camps. There are those that feel that it should be one, and there's those that feel that it should be nine. And if you got something else, that's okay too. We're going to think through this together. But most people either think it's 6 divided by 2, which is 3, times 3 is 9, or 2 times 3, which is 6, and then 6 divided by that, 6, which is 1. We'll find out what the answer is. I don't know. Do you? I do know, but I'll tell you then.
I do too. I know too.
I do know. All right. So let's try one of these. Let's walk through what it would look like. And we've kept the convenient like checklist of gems along the side so we can talk through it. So Michelle's going to talk us through some of these problems.
Well, thank you. First, let me read the problem as it's written. So this problem says 4 to the second power minus the quantity, and I say that because it's within the grouping symbols, 2 plus 5 times 3 minus 8. So when we look at that, we look at the grouping symbols and we see what's inside, and we still follow the GEMS order. So inside the parentheses, we have 2 plus 5 times 3 minus 8. Well, what comes first? Addition, multiplication, or subtraction? Well, when we look at GEMS, we have multiply and divide from left to right comes before the add and subtract. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 times 3, which will give us 15. And then we're going to bring down everything else. So we still have our 4 squared, or 4 to the second power, minus the quantity 2 plus 15 minus 8. Now, within the grouping symbols, we still have 2 operations. We have addition and subtraction. Well, what one do we do first? Let's look at GEMS. Well, GEMS says that you subtract and add from left to right. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 plus 15, and we're going to get 17. We're going to keep our parentheses because we still have an operation inside. And now we have 4 to the second power minus the quantity 17 minus 8. And notice I used to the second power and squared interchangeably because that's what squared means. It means to the second power. So now within the parentheses or the grouping symbols, we still have one more operation, and that's subtraction. So that's the one we're going to do. 17 take away 8 will give us 9. And we're going to bring down our 4 to the second power minus, in parentheses, 9. Now notice we drew the parentheses, but there are no more operations inside. So when we say do grouping symbols first, and we see this grouping symbol, if there are no operations to do, we can go ahead and drop those parentheses. And now we have 4 to the second power, take away 9. So we're going to go ahead and choose what to do next. Is it the exponent or is it subtraction? And when we look at GEMS, clearly exponents come before subtract and add from left to right. So we're going to go ahead and do 4 to the second power, which means 4 times 4. And we're going to get 16. And now we're going to subtract the 9, and that's our last operation. We get 7. And notice our answer's boxed to let our peers and let our facilitators know that this is our final answer when we evaluate this expression. Well done.
Well, let's try another example.
Shall we?
Okay.
So this next example is 4 plus 2 times the quantity 10 minus 3 to the second power. So again, we have grouping symbols. So we're going to go ahead and do what's inside the grouping symbols first. We have 2 operations this time. We have subtraction and we have exponents. And when we look at our GEMS, exponents come first. So we're going to do 3 to the second power, which is the same as 3 times 3, and we get a 9. Now we rewrite everything. 4 plus 2 times the quantity 10 minus 9. Notice I said times or 2 multiplied by. That's because the 2 is next to the parenthesis, which means multiplication. So inside our grouping symbols, what do we do next? Well, there's only one operation left to do, and that's 10 take away 9. So what is 10 take away 9? That's 1. So now we have 4 plus 2 times 1. And now we can leave the grouping symbol there to represent multiplication, because if we just take it away, it would look like a 21. And we know that's not right. So we can either leave the parenthesis there, or we can add on a dot to represent multiplication. Beautiful. So now we have 4 plus 2 times 1. Well, what comes first? Well, let me see. When we look at GEMS, grouping symbols, exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, then add and subtract from left to right. Well, we only have multiplication and addition, so we're going to multiply first. So 2 times 1 gives us 2. Now we have 4 plus 2. And that's our last operation, and our final result will be 6. We'll go ahead and box that up. Let our peers and our facilitator know what our final answer is when we evaluate this. And we get a 6. Well done.
Yes. And let's try one more for the road before we give the answer to the one from the beginning.
Uno mas. Here we go.
Uno más.
So next we have 18 divided by 2 times the quantity, 5 minus 2, whole thing to the second power, meaning the whole quantity that's in parentheses to the second power. So first step, we do what's inside the grouping symbols. And notice we do have an operation. We have 5 minus 2, and that's it. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. So 18 divided by 2 times 3 to the second power. Now notice the thing being raised to the second power is the 3, not the 2 times 3, just the 3. So are we going to do division, multiplication, or the exponent first? Well, when we look at GEMS, exponents come first. So we're going to do 3 to the second power and get 9, because 3 times itself is 9. And that's the same as a number squared or to the second power. Now we have 18 divided by 2 times 9. So next up, what do we do next? Well, we have multiplication and division. And when we look at our GEMS, it says we multiply and divide from the left to the right. So starting at the 18, we're going to do 18 divided by 2, where we get 9. Then we're going to multiply by 9. 9 times 9 is 81. And we're done. We're going to go ahead and box that up, let our facilitators and our peers know what we got. And we get an 81.
All right, so let's go back and revisit this original problem, which at this point should be easy peasy for you because we did some tough problems there. So what do you think? What should happen here? Well, what do we have here? We only have division and multiplication. That's it. But remember, they're represented by one letter. Why? Because they're at the same level and we do it from left to right. So if we're only doing two things on the same level, then we start at the left. 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And now we take down what we have left over here, and all we have left is one more operation. So if you were team 9 as the answer, you win. Yay! Box your
And
answer.
and
Wasn't
if
that
you
fun?
weren't and if you weren't team 9, you also win because now you know how to solve this problem.
Sometimes you win more because if you look at the research, more of your synapses grow when you're wrong, and then you learn from it. So let's get out there and make some good mistakes so we can learn from them. All right, everybody. This show was brought to you by your friendly neighborhood math team. And what we have to say to you from here is happy mathing. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.